Good morning. It's Wednesday, right?
It is Wednesday.
All right.
Yes.
Welcome to KSAT News Now. We have a lot to discuss this morning, including the very high-profile case of Kyle Rittenhouse. Jury could be deciding any moment what his fate will be. Also, Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant's widow, again giving a lot to talk about in that case against LA County.
That's right, Alicia, and also an in-depth discussion over the Texas abortion debate. We've seen a lot of back and forth in the courts. And switching gears, a local couple competing for bragging rights and a lot of money for their Christmas lights display. So this is pretty cool stuff there going on.
That's the happy news you want to stick to. Also happy news, weather. We want to bring in Justin. Justin, good morning.
Good morning to you guys. Good morning.
First question for you.
Okay.
Hold on, pigweed.
She's got trivia for you.
Did he do the pigweed round today?
Yeah, well, he's already asked. I had prepared like a 10-minute segment on pigweed this morning, but Alyssa told me we didn't have time for that. So
that might be too much pigweed talk. I don't know. I don't know if there's
a lot to worry about.
First he wants it and then he doesn't want anything.
I know, you just never know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think really the big story today is going to be a cold front that we're going to see tonight. So we'll call it what a difference a day makes. We're going to be up around 82 degrees today. It's humid. It's warm. T-shirt weather. That all changes tonight. We get a cold front coming through. And by the time we get into tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we'll have temperatures in the 60s, a good northerly wind. It will feel very, very different. So as you go off to work and school tomorrow, dress appropriately. That front will be here by midnight, and that will bring about those changes. We could see some wind gusts tomorrow up close to 40 miles per hour. So here's a quick look at the forecast. If you're hoping for some rain, we're not going to get a lot out of this front. It's just a couple showers. That's it. Clouds stick around, though. It will be a somewhat cloudy Thursday. That will help to keep temperatures down somewhat, too. And we'll see the clouds eventually clear out by Friday morning, which hopefully will give us an opportunity to check out that lunar eclipse. We'll talk more about that a little bit later this week. But the wind gust forecast, there I mentioned it, gusts close to 40 tomorrow. So get ready for some gusty winds. If you've already put out those Christmas decorations, we talked about this yesterday, tie them down.
We talked about how it's too early for you, Justin. Yeah, I remember.
There's a forecast, 20% chance of rain tonight into tomorrow. Another chance also Sunday, and it warms back up this week and at least a little bit into the 70s. But the big story tomorrow will be the cooler temperatures and the windy conditions, guys.
Yeah, wow, a quick change in the weather there. Thank you very much, Justin, for telling us about that this morning. So,
pulling my hair back and lots of Aquanet. I'm just kidding.
Oh, there we go. Lots of hairspray, huh?
Lots. All right, so today we are waiting for a verdict this morning in the high-profile case of Kyle Rittenhouse. That trial, stemming from Wisconsin, jurors resumed deliberating this morning, and the panel of 5 men and 7 women deliberated for more than 8 hours on Tuesday. Jurors are deciding his fate.
Yeah, and this, of course, is after that night of unrest in the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. Rittenhouse was 17 years old at the time. He shot at 4 people with a semi-automatic rifle, killing 2 of them and injuring another. And nearly all of this was captured on video. If you remember that, Alicia, that we saw this. You're looking at this video right now that we're showing, and this is after when Kyle actually went up to police officers with his hands up there. So, yeah, this has been a very high profile, and this has been analyzed frame by frame.
Yeah, so many eyes are, of course, on this case. It was really full of emotion. You had the outburst from Kyle, and then you really had the judge kind of be the center of it all because of his outburst, the yelling. So a thing that's being talked about, really the top aspect of this on Twitter right now, is that Kyle Rittenhouse, was allowed to pick from the jury box, a raffle box, who the jury would be. So it's not unusual, but what is unusual is that the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, was able to do that. So that's kind of unheard of there. That's
interesting. And yeah, as you just said there's been a lot of twists and turns in this case. And the prosecution, of course, saying that he was a teenage vigilante. He obviously had an illegal gun in his possession, and defense saying that he obviously acted in self-defense. So very interesting.
Yeah, lots to unpack there. We'll keep our eyes on that one. Well, moving over to LA County, while the court ruled that Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant's widow, would not have to undergo psychiatric evaluation as part of her lawsuit against LA County over the leaked photos, she will have to overturn therapy papers, and we're talking years worth of therapy papers.
Is it 4 years? 4 or
Yes.
5 years? Yeah. So she claims the pictures taken by first responders there, of course, of Kobe and her daughter Gianna's accident were graphic, and of course they were. The photos show the 9 victims' bodies, including her husband, Kobe, and her daughter. Those pictures were then made and they were shown around, and she says that that caused her severe emotional distress and trauma.
So the majority of Kobe fans side with Vanessa, saying handing over years of therapy papers is, one, incredibly inappropriate, and 2, a violation of privacy, but even more so, it could have a harmful impact to the mental health community as a whole, as well as to Vanessa Bryant. However, the outside counsel for Los Angeles County said a request like this is actually standard in cases that claim damages from emotional distress. So we could be finding out more about that, and that trial is set to begin in early 2022.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there, and we have a little chat group. I'm bringing in producer Alicia in this too, and we were kind of talking about this prior to us talking about this story, and just the amount of stuff that Vanessa Bryant has basically had to go through since the crash, obviously dealing with that very emotional time. And she wasn't very public even when she was with Kobe Bryant.
Exactly.
She would go to games, but she wasn't really out there. Now she's getting a lot more information, a lot more publicity on her, and it's just kind of, it's a little bit of a shame, for
I
sure.
don't think it's any publicity that she would,
No, definitely
she
not.
wants. But
Definitely not.
again, another one we will keep you updated on. And now coming back to Texas. Texas's controversial abortion law, again, front and center, this time in the U.S. Supreme Court, and there are questions about what this will mean about the future of the law.
So we spoke with Reese Oxner with the Texas Tribune to get some explanation about what's been happening in the courts right now.
He tells us that the Supreme Court isn't ruling on the overall law's help me out here.
Constitutionality.
Thank
Yes.
you. All right, so it's actually looking at the question of whether the state can pass this enforcement to regular citizens.
Could even be me and you under the law, or anyone virtually in the United States or in the world can have a lawsuit no matter what, if they don't know the person, or if they just heard like a rumor that they had an abortion, they can file lawsuits against people who helped them get that abortion. So that includes doctors, or even perhaps an Uber driver that helped them get to the appointment. And if you win, you get $10,000. And so that leads opponents to calling it a bounty hunting scheme. And so that's really what the Supreme Court is taking up, is can Texas kind of offload enforcement to private citizens in order to circumvent Supreme Court precedent?
Yeah, I found that to be very interesting, Alicia. I actually did not know that if someone were to file a lawsuit and they were to win, they were going to get money. So that's why they were calling this sort of like a bounty hunting kind of bounty gate thing when it comes to this abortion law. And the president there that Reese was sort of referring to is Roe versus Wade, which gives someone the constitutional right to an abortion before fetal viability. So we also asked Reese what happens if the Supreme Court rules that Texas cannot enforce this law.
So if there's no consequences, then maybe we'll see providers start back procedures. And there's also the chance that there is still a chilling effect, because to just add to that layer of complication, the law does allow for retroactive lawsuits. And so, for example, the Supreme Court is going to likely take up abortion rights in general next month, which we may not see a ruling on that till the summer. But if they decide to take away or like to revisit Roe v. Wade and declare it bad law, then any procedures done in between SB 8's start and when it is overturned, people could still be sued during that time.
And this is also being debated in the Texas courts. We know that several organizations, including Planned Parenthood, have filed lawsuits to block the law. Here's what Reese said about the ongoing court battle in Texas and what these organizations are trying to accomplish.
A previous estimate showed that it was around 85% of abortions previously performed. Now we're seeing that in the state about half of abortions, or half of the number of abortions have stopped in the state compared to last year, or at least in the month of, I believe, September was when the study was done. Pro-abortion groups are saying, it's causing financial strains, especially among people of color or trans women who traditionally face barriers to getting an abortion in the first place.
Yeah, Alicia, and I think we passed over a soundbite that Reese actually had there. So in that question that you had there is basically he was saying that those groups that are in the Texas courts right now are asking for a judge to basically block Texas' right to life. And I didn't know about this group. This is an organization that is a very prominent anti-abortion organization in the state, and they help actually draft this restriction law. So that's what's going on in the Texas courts. And the answer that he had there on the back end that we just saw was basically just the amount of abortions now that are taking place outside of the state.
Yeah.
Because of this, there's obviously a lot of people that are now going to neighboring states to do this, and just the amount of people that are being affected by this as well. He mentioned people of color and also some trans women as well that have been getting more barriers to getting abortions at this point.
Yeah, those are testimonies that I have read about on Instagram and Twitter, and you know, each person is able to share their account. So to hear that some of these women have had to either do what they say, like the coat hanger abortions, or just seek unsafe ways, again, this is giving a lot of talk about.
Right, yeah, and we will continue to obviously follow this as we continue along here with this very sort of controversial and heated topic as well. So thank you very much to Reese for giving us some of this time, and you know, hopefully we could get to hear from him or others from the Texas Tribune on a few other stories affecting us.
So RJ, holidays are right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
People already planning some trips. Are you planning to fly anywhere?
It's not planning to fly anywhere, no. Actually going to just kind of stay in town this Thanksgiving. What about you?
I'm still debating. I'm looking at flights. One,
about
the
it.
prices aren't as cheap, but I want to let you know, if you are planning to fly somewhere this Thanksgiving, you have to be ready now more than ever for crowds. So pack, I know this sounds so cliche, pack your patience, but seriously, oh my goodness. We do want to remind you that alcohol sales are once again, hard liquor sales are resumed.
Does that help or hurt?
Flights. Well, for some it helps.
Some
it helps.
So the TSA basically saying this morning that the number of people flying this year for Thanksgiving is expected to get back to pre-coronavirus pandemic levels. And at that time, 2 years ago, 26 million passengers and crews passed through U.S. airport screening in the 11 days around Thanksgiving, but that obviously fell last year because of the pandemic.
But, I mean, how ready can you be? TSA officials say they are ready for the surge, but I don't. We'll see.
Well, yeah, they say
I mean,
but
of course they have to be ready, right? TSA, screening passengers, all of that. But just remember, if you've been traveling, you've probably been pampered, so to speak, knowing that there aren't that many lines, giving yourself not that much time. So now they have to give themselves the 2-3 hours or whatever is required.
So I don't know, did you travel or did you fly during the pandemic? You did?
I did. I did fly.
So you kind of already got used to the whole like airport setup and everything?
Yes. Well, not used to, but you're aware of, you know what to expect.
Yeah. But you're right, it's gonna be different because there were like not as full flights and it was just kind of a different whole scene. But yeah, just like you said, pack your patience.
Patience. RJ, we talked about this yesterday. Is it too early to put Christmas decorations up? Some said yes, the Grinch. But we took a poll on Instagram and the majority said, no, it's not too early, right? That was
the majority said that, yes,
okay.
78%.
So to further prove that point, check this out.
Look behind me. This is amazing here. A local couple is getting some national attention for their Christmas lights display. They're competing in ABC's Great Christmas Light Fight.
This is the home of John and Brenda Wilson in the city of Windcrest, so not too far from us here downtown. If driving around to see Christmas lights is one of your family traditions, you're probably really familiar with this home. They've been doing it. He had been doing it for 20, then he got married, and so for the last 12 years, just the display has gotten bigger and brighter.
When does this guy start doing this? That's
hey,
I gotta know.
So preparation for them starts in the summer, June, July, but they start putting the lights up in September.
Yeah, no, that's a lot there. But shout out to this Windcrest couple here. So ABC actually shot this episode last December, but the Wilsons are still waiting to see how that will sort of end up, and the episode will air at 9 p.m. on November 28th, so a couple days after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so if you want to see the display in person, you can head out to Windcrest for their Light Up Windcrest event, and that starts December 4th. So already it's exciting to know that people are gearing up, especially families like the Wilsons.
Sure, yeah.
Thousands of lights, and the preparation for them starts June, July, and September is really when they start putting those up. So we
Yeah.
have some viewer comments
The
about
summer?
this. I'm sure
Oh my God.
many have a lot to say. Here we have the nicest couple ever. They were so kind to my boys and went out of their way to make them feel special. I hope you win. Y'all deserve it. And
Yeah,
I believe that
very
they
cool.
actually dress up as Santa and Mrs. Claus. So they really go all
They
out.
go all out, yeah, and it seems like people there in Windcrest really do appreciate them putting this up, even though, yes, I'm being a little bit of a Grinch right now.
Yeah, we know
called
this.
me.
But I want to say again, we love to include your thoughts and responses on the show. So to those commenting and sharing your good thoughts, be sure to drop a comment below wherever you're watching, or even on our website. You can do that there too when you're reading an article, and we just might show it right here on KSAT News Now.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're streaming on YouTube, on Facebook Live, and this morning, people commenting. Obviously, a lot of attention is on the Kyle Rittenhouse case right there. So there's a lot of people sort of going back and forth there. Again, you know, we do always appreciate you guys and your opinions as well. So, you know, if you're on either side of it, just kind of keep
Yeah,
them
so
coming.
a question there before we leave. Tina Hernandez says, since I really haven't been able to watch the case, the two guys he killed are the ones that threatened him and tried to take his illegal gun. Well, that's a good point. Kyle Rittenhouse claims self-defense and that he pulled the trigger after the three men were attacking him. So that's obviously something that's been talked about and broken down in the case.
Yeah.
So
and-
again, jury deliberating right now. It could be really, you never know when they're going to wrap it up. So all eyes on that.
Yeah, and make sure to follow us on KSAT.com for the very latest on that trial. And of course, we have the news at noon coming up in just a little bit. So we appreciate you guys being with us on KSAT News Now, again, streaming Monday through Fridays at 11 a.m.